everyone, it's Maki here. Do you like the appearance of the main Gundam, painted in black? The Gundam Mark II, which appears at the beginning of the Zeta Gundam story, was the first to adopt this method. The Banshee Gundam Unicorn also follows the same approach. Similarly, in the Gundam Seed series, there is a Gundam that shares this trait. It is this particular model. It's called the Strike NOIR. It appears in Mobile Suit Gundam Seed C-73 Stargazer. It's a model resembling the Strike Gundam from Gundam Seed, but painted black, making it quite striking. The pilot is Sven Kalbane. He is a soldier belonging to a unit called the 81st Independent Mobile Group of the Earth Alliance. This unit is widely known by the name Phantom Pain. Now, let's observe the performance of the Strike NOIR. The Strike NOIR is a machine whose settings have significantly changed from its initial appearance to the present. Originally, the idea was that the Strike Gundam was reproduced, incorporating a power extender, and as a result of these improvements, the machine's color changed to black. This change in color led to the name Strike NOIR. However, with the spin-off Delta Astray and the release of the master-grade plastic model, a new box story was created. The Strike NOIR was born from the Actane project, spearheaded by Actane Industry. This project was a mobile suit development run operated by the Earth Alliance's 81st Independent Corps, known as Phantom Pain. Various attempts were made to refine the highly successful GAT-X series used in the battle between the ZOCT and the Earth Alliance forces, with the aim of creating a more powerful machine. Initially, Sven Kalbane piloted a Strike Gundam reproduced as per the original design and equipped with the WSP Striker pack. The purpose was to reassess the Strike Gundam's performance and find further improvements. Simulated combat was conducted with the Duo Gundam and Buster Gundam, also reproduced serving as mock enemies. These simulations were conducted under real battle conditions, with live ammunition. Sven managed to disable both Gundams in about 5 minutes without injuring the pilots, leading to further modifications of these machines into Blue Duo and Verdi Buster. Sven continued to deploy on various missions aboard the Strike Gundam IWSP, flawlessly executing missions like eliminating Earth Alliance's internal opposing factions and ZOCT deserters. He eliminated all witnesses and mercilessly destroyed those who abandoned the fight. After repeated real battles and data collection, incorporating Sven's feedback, the Strike Gundam was modified into the Strike Key, with E standing for Enhance. It incorporated a new type of battery technology called a Power Extender, developed by Moonwood Inc. of the Orb Union. This also led to the adoption of variable phase shift armor. Based on Sven's feedback, various parts of the machine were improved. Large thrusters were added to the shoulders to enhance mobility. This made it impossible to use the traditional striker packs that attach to the shoulders, but their utility was recognized and new striker packs compatible with Strike Key were developed. The head was significantly redesigned to improve ammunition feed rates for the machine guns and strengthen the sensors. An anchor launcher was also added, enabling unconventional actions and attacks. As of Cosmic Era 73, the Strike Key is often described as an outdated model. However, it was reborn as a powerful state-of-the-art machine by incorporating various latest technologies. In the story, it instantly destroys 2 of ZOCT's latest models, the Zaku Warriors. Equipping the NOIR Striker, transforms the Strike into an even more powerful machine, the Strike NOIR. The NOIR Striker is specialized for close-range combat, assuming coordination with the Blue Duo and Body Buster. There are no detailed explanations about the color of the valuable phase shift armor. Black represents a lower strength of phase shift armor in favor of energy efficiency. It's a color adopted by machines like the Blitz Gundam, which requires a lot of energy for Mirage Colloid Stealth, and the Blast Impulse, which uses a lot of energy for its artillery weapons. Why was this color chosen for the Strike NOIR, primarily intended for close combat? The Sword Impulse, also designed for close combat, uses red for its higher strength. Here's my personal interpretation. By the time the Strike NOIR was developed, beam rifles had become standard equipment, diminishing the absolute advantage of phase shift armor. The Earth's Alliance's 105 Dagger and Gundam not adopting phase shift armor was due to cost issues and the prevalence of beam rifles. The Strike Gundam is a mobile suit capable of extremely flexible and human-like movements compared to other mobile suits. However, maximizing this flexibility puts a great strain on the machine itself. In Gundam C, the maintenance staff for the Strike Gundam piloted by Kira Yamato commented that the machine was falling apart due to its complex movements. Perhaps the phase shift armor of the Strike NOIR isn't meant to reduce damage from enemy machines, but to allow the machine to keep up with the pilot's skills. In the story of Stargazer, Sven defeats enemies with extremely acrobatic maneuvers. If the purpose of the phase shift armor is to accommodate such piloting, then minimal strength might be sufficient. The armor might be intended to mitigate the impacts and wear caused by the machine's movements rather than bullet impacts. This concept seems similar to the development of the Strike Freedom Gundam. The Strike Freedom has adopted phase shift armor in its joints to ensure the machine can respond to the pilot's control skills. To maximize the capabilities of a powerful pilot, the machine needs to provide some form of support. Of course, this is just my personal interpretation. There is also a chance that the Strike NOIR's black color is more convenient for its role as a private military unit of logos, often conducting covert operations. Let's review the armament of the Strike NOIR. The NOIR Striker will be analyzed in the next block. First, the M2M 5-Tosprechen 12-point female laser automatic close-in defense weapon. This armament was changed along with the improvements to the heads. The caliber of the Eglon equipped on the Strike Gundam was 70 mm, although significantly smaller in caliber. The Tosprechen retains half the power of the Eglon. At first glance, it might seem weaker, but the head modifications have increased the feed rate of ammunition. The smaller bullet size also allows for carrying more rounds. It's adequately powerful for intercepting missiles and destroying enemy joints or cameras. The name Tosprechen means death terror in German, a rather ominous name considering it's mounted on phantom paints machines, often attacking non-mobile suit targets. Next is the M8FSB-1 beam rifle shorty. It's more resembling a beam pistol or beam gun, but there's a reason for this name. When developing the Strike NOIR, it was noted that in combat requiring mobility and burst power, a large beam rifle is often not the best weapon. To address this, a plan to miniaturize the existing beam rifle was implemented, hence the name beam rifle shorty. There are multiple views on its destructive power. Some sources say it has lower power than a standard beam rifle, while others claim its power isn't changed. In the story, it destroys the latest Saku warrior models in one shot, causing explosions. The depictions suggest it can destroy critical components like engines, not just the cockpit, indicating its power likely hasn't diminished. Shortening the barrel reduces the range by about 15% compared to a standard beam rifle. However, for the Strike NOIR, designed for close combat, this isn't a disadvantage. A uniquely complex piece of equipment is the EQS-1358 anchor launcher. 6 are built in, 1 in each frontal, and hued wires, made of robust monomer fibers, are stored in a tank of special polymer solution, wound on a reel. When the anchor is fired, it passes through this polymer solution before exiting the machine, which instantly hardens upon exposure to the environment. The pilot can freely adjust the molecular composition of the polymer solution, where it fuses with the wire, setting the coating's thickness, hardness, and flexibility for various uses. There are scenes where the anchor launcher is used to grab an enemy mobile suit and swing it around, using the enemy's momentum. It's also used to anchor to structures, assisting in the machine's movements. This powerful equipment complicates the arm's internal structure and worsens materiality, making it difficult for general mobile suits to adopt. Thanks to the efforts of an excellent design team, the anchor launcher was completed without compromising the arm's functionality or strength. It can theoretically swing objects up to about 100 tons in Earth's gravity without any functional issues. Finally, the 170mm grenade launcher equipped 57mm high-energy beam rifle. This is the same type of beam rifle equipped on the dual Gundam. By the time the Strike NOIR was deployed, this was a node model prototype weapon for the Earth Alliance's beam armaments. However, it has a proven track record of intense battles alongside the dual Gundam and is highly regarded. The pilot who operated the dual Gundam was Taft-Jewel. But after the conclusion of the Gundam Seed conflict, the dual Gundam was returned to the Earth Alliance. Its reliability is highly valued by active pilots, and elite pilot Ben is seen in the story carrying 2 of these weapons during deployment. Let's analyze the most distinctive feature of the Strike NOIR, the NOIR Striker. The NOIR Striker is an equipment that inherits the concept of the IWSP, leveraging its versatility to specialize in close-quarters combat. It was developed as a new striker pack based on the data obtained from operating the IWSP and Sven's feedback. One major change was the elimination of the combat shield, which had been detrimental to weight balance. This was one of the reasons Kagari Europe has struggled to utilize the IWSP effectively, and even an elite pilot like Sven found it unnecessary. A notable feature is the massive, variable wing unit. It also has a strong aerodynamic control function, enabling the Strike NOIR to fly. There are differing opinions in the sources, some saying it does not have thrusters, and others claiming it does. In the story, it seems only the Strike NOIR's own thrusters are used. If it indeed lacks a propulsion system like the NOIR Striker, this represents a remarkable enhancement, reflecting the economic power of the large organization logos. In terms of thrust, it means that the Strike's own propulsion system alone is generating the necessary output. Additionally, the NOIR Striker incorporates variable phase shift armor, improving its defensive capabilities compared to traditional striker packs. It also carries powerful equipment, retaining the functionality of the IWSP as its successor. First is the MAUM-3E four-twin linear gun, originally described only as a long-range railgun. Upon the release of Stargazer, this armament later received many additional settings. It's an improved version of the MAUM-3 equipped on the XS, described as a weapon open list for close-range destruction, energy efficiency and bullet velocity, rather than long-distance sniping. Its firing rate has also been enhanced, making it suitable for Strike NOIR's primary role in close combat with enemy units. The guns are mounted on arms on the wings, allowing for a wide range of fire angles and not interfering with the machine's movements due to their short barrels. Next is the MROQ-10 Fratgarak 3-beam braid. This equipment, mounted on the outer sides of the NOIR Striker's wings, combines a beam braid with a metallic braid. It's based on the data from the Griffin 2 equipment of the Gaia Gundam, which was seized from the Zaft by the Earth Alliance. Considering the timeline of Gaia Gundam's seizure and the rapid development, it's astonishingly fast. The theft occurred on October 10th, and the Junior 7 incident happened on October 3rd. The Strike NOIR's first deployment in the Stargazer story is immediately after the Junior 7 incident, meaning the Gaia Gundam's data was incorporated in about 3 days. This process, involving data transmission to an Earth-based facility and compression, was executed at a remarkable pace. My personal interpretation is that the Freight Girl's main body was already complete, but its beam saber-generating components were adjusted and finalized using Gaia Gundam's data. This explanation would fit the claim of incorporating Gaia Gundam's data without strain. Of course, the official settings don't specify the exact development process. The Freight Gauge boasts extremely powerful cutting capabilities. A Zaft vacuum, for instance, is shown being sliced in half upon colliding with the grounded Freight Gauge. There is an additional mystery surrounding this weapon. In the official model kit manuals, the Freight Gauge's handle is described as a beam saber. The main part is referred to as Fratgarak, and the handle portion is individually termed a beam saber. The Strike Gundam's Schwartgear also has the functionality to generate a beam braid from the handle and can be used as a small caliber beam cannon. It wouldn't be strange for the improved Fratgarak to have similar capabilities, although not used in the Stargazer story. Perhaps it will see action in games or other appearances. The NOIR Striker is also equipped with an anchor launcher. This was added due to the poor weight balance of the IWSP, which made controlling the machine difficult. Combined with Sven's skills, it becomes a formidable equipment. Though the NOIR Striker was completed as a powerful equipment, its difficulty to master and the high cost of manufacturing was significant drawbacks. Consequently, only a few were made. In the spin-off Stray series, a machine called the Stray NOIR equipped with the NOIR Striker makes an appearance. The first depiction of the Strike NOIR's deployment was during an incident where a Zaft army attacked an Earth Alliance research facility. The Zaft forces were there to steal a near propulsion computer technology under development. Soldiers of the Zaft army are shown shooting at what appears to be non-combatant scientists without warning. The deployment of the Gazoo one of the latest mobile suits at the time, indicates the mission's importance to the Soft Forces. Colonel Joaquin of the Earth Alliance hints at the possibility of the unit being prepared to combat the Destroy Gundam. The battle concludes surprisingly quickly. The Strike NOIR withstands a direct hit from Gosuut's machine gun without any damage, showcasing that even the black phase-shift armor with lower strength can neutralize small caliber weapons. The Strike NOIR then destroys the Gosuut with its beam rifle shorty and the Baku with the Frakgarak. The ease with which it defeats its enemies prompts a light-hearted remark from Shams, a comrade about not monopolizing the fight. The battle concludes with the destruction of Azin by the Frakgarak. Did you notice? The image of the Strike NOIR standing amidst flames mirrors that of the Strike Gundam in the first episode of the TV anime. The next deployment is an attack on the Coordinator refugee camp. Colonel Joaquin describes it as a terrorist extermination mission, but admits they cannot distinguish between civilians and terrorists, essentially making it a massacre mission. The Strike NOIR deploys accompanied by the slaughtered daggers, but it does not participate in the attack on the camp. Its role may have been command and intersection in the event of mobile suit combat. Sven, who has been indoctrinated with discriminatory attitudes against coordinators, hesitates not at all when issuing attack orders. A further directive comes for Sven and the Strike NOIR to escort a convoy transporting the Destroy Gundam. Colonel Joaquin fears that Saft may be aware of the Destroy Gundam's existence. This is also depicted in Sea Destiny, with Chairman Duano obtaining data on the Destroy Gundam. The Phantom Pain unit intercepts the Soft Forces, attacking the convoy. Chaos Gundam and Neo Warnock's Winam, likely aboard the transport ships, do not deploy. They might be conserving forces for a mission involving the Destroy Gundam. In the TV anime, a large-scale unit attacks the Destroy Gundam's convoy. Though Stargazer's story only depicts small-scale battles, considering the deployment of an elite unit, including the Strike NOIR for escort, the convoy might have faced a significant attack. As evidence, the Blue Duo Gundam is destroyed in this battle. Little is known about Blue Duo and its pilot Muddy's true abilities due to limited appearances. However, their capability to participate in operations alongside Sven and the Strike NOIR is unquestionable. The Strike NOIR withstands a fierce attack. In the fight against the Carvel's Baku, the Strike NOIR destroys one by impaling it with a grounded Frakgarak. This tactic is reminiscent of Kira Yamato's move in the CTV anime, where he uses a shield to fall down the Baku. The Strike NOIR also uses wires to swing and collide Carvel's Baku's defeating two. The battle showcases the Strike Gundam's characteristic of extremely human-like movements, utilizing the machine's flexibility and enemy speed. Finally, the battle with the Stargazer. The Strike NOIR attacks the Troyer Station, a space research facility. Troyer Station, a neutral organization assisting the Earth Alliance in space development, is forcibly seized to repurpose its new technology for military use. Although they have defense mobile suits, they are virtually powerless compared to a specialized military unit, making it practically a massacre. During this battle, the Strike NOIR executes complex maneuvers using wires. It uses the station's structures to approach without being detected, continuously deploying the NOIR Striker and palm-mounted wire anchors to evade Stargazer's attacks. However, Sven's state of mind leads to the Strike NOIR's defeat. Whether this can be called a defeat is up for debate. Unlike pilots known as boosted men or extended who are enhanced through drugs and surgery, Sven's mentality is that of a normal human, and he has not undergone any memory manipulation. Hence, scenes depict Sven mourning the death of comrades. When Muddy is defeated, he fights with visible anger. In the Battle of Troya Station, the moment he shows confusion at Sham's defeat, the Stargazer's attack costs him an arm. Next, Sven's attention is drawn to Sol, the Stargazer's pilot who has just escaped, allowing Selene aboard the Stargazer to immobilize the Strike NOIR. When tasked with attacking the refugee camp, Sven asked Colonel Joaquin, should civilians be excluded from our targets? He possessed the bare minimum of military decency. Sven simply watched Sol escape with his eyes. What would have happened if a boosted man, or an extended instead of Sven, had been piloting the Strike NOIR at that moment? Would they have silently let the escaping coordinator go? Probably not. They might have tried to capture the enemy with the arms of the Strike NOIR. If such actions were taken, Selene couldn't have brought the Stargazer into contact with the Strike NOIR. Considering Sol's safety in the arms, she wouldn't have been able to do anything. As a result, Sven lets Sol escape and is captured by the Stargazer during the moment he is distracted by watching Sol. The immobilized Strike NOIR is then blown far into outer space along with the Stargazer, receiving the propulsion energy laser from the Troya Station. After the battle, the Strike NOIR's energy is transferred to the Stargazer to return to Earth. The Strike NOIR expends its last energy connecting Sven and Selene's lives. And thus having fulfilled its role, the Strike NOIR vanishes into the depths of space. The Strike NOIR did not emerge victorious in its final battle, but was this really a defeat? The interpretation of this outcome is left to each viewer. As a child, Sven was enamored with the stars, a boy who dreamed of the world among them. Although he could not achieve victory in battle, he was able to witness the sea of stars with his own eyes. The Stargazer, having received energy from the Strike NOIR, begins its return journey to Earth. Sven and Selene start their journey back in a state of induced sleep, with their metabolism reduced by drugs. The oxygen supply is estimated to last for about 27 days, which is 648 hours. 669 hours later, a communication from Sol reaches the cockpit of the Stargazer, marking the end of the story. What happened to them? The time until the oxygen was supposed to run out has passed, but remember what Selene said. She mentioned about 27 days, which means it's not strictly 27 days. There's another important element to consider. I mentioned earlier that Sven was not enhanced like a boosted man or extended. It's not explicitly stated, but this could be because a military instructor saw potential in Sven and resisted Asriel's orders, sparing Sven from enhancement procedures. Thanks to this instructor's actions, Sven's body, unlike stellar losers, does not depend on drugs for survival. Moreover, Sven has acquired a very robust physique through rigorous training by the instructor. For example, Wu-Fei from Gundam Wing can voluntarily stop breathing and enter a state of suspended animation, overcoming low oxygen situations. It wouldn't be surprising if Sven could do something similar. The military instructor, with such a brief appearance, might play a crucial role in the final scene. Are you curious about the ending? In the comic version, Selene and Sven survive, Sven is even invited by Celine to join a space exploration organization. What do you think? If you believe they survived, hit the subscribe button and let me know. If you think the Stargazer will return more powerful, hit the like button. And if you predict that the Strike NOIR will merge with extraterrestrial life and eventually return to Earth, hit the bell button and tell me. See you in the next episode.